You asked me to explain numbers, I believe, Karen. So I can explain that. But it also brings in the element of time as well. So let's just look at the numbers. There is only one number, really, and that is 1. There is 0 and 1, which is the binary code. Everything is a series of zeros and ones. Imagine how complex they would be if they were written out. So from the whole becomes 1, which in this realm of contrast splits into 2, which is why we have 2 eyes. It's an expression that we are mind, body and soul. It's an expression of there being a trinity. With the number 2, you have the 2 hemispheres of the mind or the brain. You also have the real mind, which is in the heart, same cellular structure, and both share, I think it's 73% water in the makeup of the 2 organs, which is 10, 7 and 3, which is 1 and 0. So after 3 comes 4. 4 is symbolized as being death, a doorway. It is also the 4 bodies. The physical body, the etheric body, they're the 2 parts that stay here when we go to sleep and go into a dream. The etheric body is the breathing, and we run on an autopilot, which leaves the astral body and the eye organization, which go off and temporarily escape, although it's all going on within, but it's expanding the consciousness, expanding the mind. 5 is the senses. Now, whether they're used internally or externally depends on the individual. 6 is a very interesting number. 6 symbolizes basically a fetus coming out head first, and in that is shown the flip to become a 9. So the head is at the top, not at the bottom. But before you can get to that, you have to go through the 7 chakras. These are the wig. 7 colours of the rainbow, all expressions of these numbers, which all stem from 1. Then, of course, you have the 8, the infinite, the eternal. Look at the centre of an 8, you have an X, and right in the middle of that you have a point, which then leads to 9, and we start the cycle all over again. But let's just have a look at numbers in terms of time, because that's how they're measured here. Now, if you look at a clock face, at the top, 6 symbolizes basically a fetus coming out head first, and in that is shown the flip numbers in terms of time, because that's how they're measured here. Now, if you look at a clock face, at the top is a 12. That's the minute hand that will be pointing on that. And it's reflected in science, looking at the atom, looking deeper and deeper, still not finding the answer, because they're trying to split it smaller and smaller and smaller. So they're going in minute detail. The devil is in the detail. It's opposite, and it's expressed that Earth is only part of the story, hence you get half-truths and half-lies. You get contrasts in this reality. It has a perception of not being perfection. So if it is half of 12, our hand is pointing to the 6. The number of man is 666. It's not an evil number. That's putting a judgment on it. It is Nigel from, well, he is now in Devil's Playground too, in a metaphorical sense. He's in the astral realm. He is quite right when he said the number associated with the devil is 216. It's a clever way of 666 in a way, you could say, because you have 2 of one number, 2 sixes, and then the third one is telling you what there is 2 singulars of. But look at 216, that is half of 432. Now if you look at frequency and this whole thing about broadcast, why did they change from 432 to 440? Because this plays out eternally. 4 and 4 is 8, a symbol of infinity and sanity. So that's your numbers. There'll be more to follow. Oh yes, we've forgotten something almost. That third hand, which is the intermediary, it takes it even further than the minute minute to the seconds. But do we want a second hand? Do we want to see things in that much detail? Because we'll be watching the time just fly by. It will escape us. But what is time? There is only now, so how can there be time? When you see our hand is on the 6, and the minute hand, which is actually the bigger hand, is on the 12, that's going to give you 18, 1 infinite. Or add them together, you have 9. But look also, if you have a vertical line formed by the 6 and formed by the 9, you get 1, or I. So there's always duality and contrast in this reality. But it makes it quite clear in the beginning and what created everything. So therefore, it is in everything. Now most people will more readily see it when you have a night sky, because in that darkness you then see the stars, or the little positions which can be read. But what about the signs during the day? Signs are given all the time. It's whether we can see them, whether we can join the dots. By joining the dots, we are joining 2 points on a circuit board. We are creating a new circuit. Most people are struggling and asking why, which reminds me of the song Castles in the Sky. Do you ever wonder in your life, I can't exactly remember the words, I'll have to paraphrase it, but I am asking why do we build castles in the sky, the unattainable? You want to know why? Well, just fix yourself to any one thing and crucify yourself. Now the weight of your beliefs about this physical reality will become very apparent when that weight starts to pull you down. Your arms won't be out straight. You will now form the letter shape Y. O Father, why hast thou forsaken me? Emphasis on the Y. And by as king, quest I on, the mind's eye asking questions, you're asking why. And then the answer becomes revealed. It's played out in the physical, and I wouldn't recommend anybody to actually crucify themselves. But also look what else is symbolized. Each limb has a hole in it. The legs are crossed, and the nail goes through the ankle, 1 nail through both, 2 into 1, at its lowest level. The outstretched arms have a nail in each, so that's 4 holes. But only 3 nails, there's a 7. Now there is the spear, this is the heart, there is the outpouring. That's the letting go of the physical body being expressed, reaching that transcended self. So hopefully that clears up some of the mystery. The mystery is my story. What is my theology? Well, that is mythology. There are clues to be found everywhere. Take any word, play with it, say it over and over again, say it fast, say it slow. Play with time, because there is only now. So in that moment, notice it's all meant, because it is meant to be. Meant to become contrasts in this reality of duality, or what we perceive as duality. But if we don't hold judgment over it, and we just see things as they are, for what they are, it reveals something far greater. And yet, where can any of this be seen? Where can you point to? Where can you grab hold of it? You could hold it as a thought. But don't try and hold thoughts. The subconscious will do that. They will just come back at the right moment. It is the divine feminine side that is talking to the divine masculine side. Something will just come at the right time. It's like, oh, why did that come into my head? Why did that song come into my head? Whatever it is, it's a reminder. It is your own internal guidance that is taking place. It's almost like a paradox with this, because the theme is about letting go, but at the same time we're collecting data in the subconscious. Consciously we may not remember it, but that thought may just come back into your head as and when you need it. All the answers are within, provided we just stay neutral, we stay as observers, we just watch, we become the watchers. But then we also become the Elohim, because they are the ones in the story that form the earth. From our thoughts, if they are coming from the heart, they will form a new earth. But it all depends on whether we can stay neutral, or if we are judgmental of what is good and what is bad. There is no judgment. They are all experiences. Every interaction is an experience. They're all there as lessons to learn and grow from. When you think a seed puts out a root, it resembles a snake or a serpent. All these things are shown in everything. It's just whether we have the eye to see it, which is the mind's eye. But it is not from thinking it, it's not from rationalizing it, it's not coming from the left brain. It is coming from the right. It is a theme of move up and to the right. It is a union within oneself of divine feminine and divine masculine. But at the same time, there also, because we're in a realm of contrast, requires a separation of I, me, and myself. Because they are distinct parts that we are the embodiment of in individualized forms. We are all expressions. But whether we can see that it is the one in everything that is playing all the parts in these plays on this world stage, and plays can be comedies, they can be tragedies, they can be all kinds of dramas. Just look at the external world. There are plenty of dramas you can act a part in if you so wish. There is no good or bad. They're just experiences. But hold with what the gut feeling tells you inside. Communicate with that. You won't go far wrong.